let us load the board. Oh, and I'm not ready.
Welcome to the Great Debate.
So how is everybody today? It's been an interesting morning. So I got a free game yesterday, and I set up the keys to my keypad, and today I streamed for 3.5 hours playing a game. I don't usually do that. Well, other than this game, but not for 3.5 hours straight. So, just here to smash while you're still at work. I really appreciate that. I do. We've got Reaper popping in to hit that thumb. We've got Trez. We've got Dark Sasuke in the room. I appreciate every last one of you for showing up. And if you happen to pop in during my game stream, I appreciate that too. I might do another one later. But because stupid me, I wanted to sit and have fun and fuck off with a game stream. I don't have any guests. Although, I don't know if I didn't play the game stream, would that have changed the number of guests? I didn't send a bunch of Twitter links out like I usually do. I sent one out a little while before the show. I also, if you are interested, and believe I'm sitting in the green room in Discord. I am. I'm going to head over into the show. And if anybody pops into the green room, I will be happy to let you on. Let me make sure all my audio levels are where they need to be for today. Everybody hearing me all right? I did pop in on the game stream, but I got funny looks at Walmart. Yeah, the game is it's definitely a little funny. I've got this little creature that runs around with me, and it calls me monkey. So all the volumes look like they're all the way up. So if anybody jumps in Discord, I will pop you over. But it was a very, very fun morning playing that game. I think I'm actually going to stream a couple more hours later playing it, because I bet you I'm about halfway through at least a section. I don't know. I don't know how far through I am. But we have a couple bots and a couple of real people out there in the chat. One of them out there needs to pick a topic to start off today's conversation. And then I can talk meaninglessly for a little while with you guys and see what, see what the conversation brings up. School. Where's my mouse? There it is. Oh, you know what? I'm an idiot, guys. Here, let me get that there. Take that off. Alright, there we go. There we go. That's what happens when you mess with settings for too much. Okay. While the amount of facts students can learn is important, more so is the ability to understand methods used to get there. Alright, so this is one I've breezed across a couple times, I think. Students are primarily taught how to learn the information, take it in, memorize the basics to take the tests. You're learning the information that your state or district decides is pertinent for you to learn, and then once you learn that information that's needed on the test, you're okay. What I don't see being taught to kids anymore is the ability to critically think about what it is they're being taught, to understand why they're coming to the answers they're coming to. So math is a very, very easy one to compare this with. If we hand a student, I'm going to give the wrong term, when geometry is a measure of area, and we give them the equation that L2 times W2 equals area. Or no, L times W equals area. Are they going to understand how they got it, or are they going to understand the equation? And while the two are almost identical, yeah, it's really hard to explain. Nope, that was a bad That was a bad analogy. Damn, I'm flunking today. I'm flunking. My mind is on those little spawns reaching out and grabbing shit and ripping hearts out of bodies. I mean, school! Yeah. Kids need to learn how things got to where they are. It seems kind of pointless to put a kid in front of a computer and go find the answer to this and not explain how did we get to the point where you could use computers. My curious question is, are students still taught how to use things like the card catalog or basic search terms like the and, or, parentheses, quotations? Are they taught the simple basic stuff that we were all taught, or are they breezed past it because it's not used anymore? That's a fair question. Well, I'm tanking on school. Thanks, Sasuke, giving me the hard one for the day. I had something when I put this together, but I guess I didn't clear my mind long enough before the show. It just seems to me that the people that come out of school these days, and granted it's been a couple years since I was a store manager, but I still got my kids and I've got the people that work for the local places that I shop at that don't quite realize how to get to where they gotta be. You'll get rung up for something that's like $6.67 and they'll accidentally hit the cash button and go, I need a calculator. I don't know how much to give you. $3.33. How do you know that? Because I gave you a $10 bill. Okay, well, I need a calculator to make sure. Oh my God, are you that stupid? Yes, I will say that to people. If you cannot do math under like $1,000 in your head at the register, you shouldn't be running the register. Shouldn't. You should be stocking shelves. Then you don't have to count, you just have to push. Maybe you have to read the date, but the people just don't get that common sense knowledge that comes from being taught how to do things, not how to get to the end of the equation. If that makes sense. That's me. That's me flying off the handle about how stupid our schools make our kids these days. I gotta stop moving around away from this mic, and I'll just come up over here, and I'll come back here, and I'll talk, and then I'll wander around. I'm in a wooden chair, just kind of moving around. I'm getting kind of antsy playing that video game for too long today. 4, 3, 2, yeah. This one's difficult. It's hard to explain what I mean here, but it's almost like what the teachers taught us, how we were taught when we were kids, me being in my mid-30s, how we were taught when we were kids was look at the problem and find a way to get to the solution. And they'd help you along by giving you the equations. Now, you're not being helped along. You're not being taught how to fish. You're being handed the fish and told to go feed yourself. And I'm not fond of that practice. I like the ability to look at things different ways, because especially in math, there's sometimes more than one way to do things. So it's a weird one. I don't think students are being taught. They're not coming out of school with what they should be coming out of school with. And I don't know whether that falls on the fact that they're not being taught certain things, or they are being taught, but the way they're being tested, what they're being taught isn't being pushed hard because they're more focused on what's on the test. Oh, that was a dumb school ramble. And everybody's just kind of sitting there listening to me today, except for my bots who are typing in chat. YouTube monitor page sucks, guys. It really does. So, with that being said, how about another topic? Let's get to the next topic here while I Will I stare at the screen and see if I did miss anything? Anybody said no, no, Skullbot, Nightbot. Oh, somebody's making noise in my ear. Where? Why can't I tell? Oh! Hey, Sasuke tossed me a couple dollars in change. Why didn't it show up on my screen? Oh, I'm screwing shit up all over the place, aren't I? That's why. There we go. I've got a lot of setup here on this side, guys, and after I... Thank you, Sasuke. Let me fix that so you guys can see that in the bottom corner, since I screwed shit up. We can lower the volume on that. See, there it is! Dark Sasuke emptied $2 in change, and it's greatly appreciated. Hey, Rajin, welcome back. I saw you in there while I was gaming earlier. Just got settled in. Awesome. Start with a nice, relaxing, shoot the shit and talk about topics, and then maybe I'll shoot some other stuff later. We are waiting for our next topic to come up, though. Our chat is enjoying just hanging out with me today, and I greatly appreciate that. Oh, how are you liking your new job, Sasuke? I think I asked you the day. I don't know if I caught your answer in the chat. I don't know if I asked what you were doing, but how are you liking it? Is it, I have not set my first super chat yet. I'm trying to, I have my goals, and then what I'm going to do when I hit those goals. Super early to you versus super early to me. I wake up at 4 o'clock without an alarm every day, if not sooner. Sometimes I sleep till like almost 5, but then I feel like I slept too late and I wake up with like, you know, those hurries, like all flushed, heart beating really fast, like, oh shit, it's 4:40, I gotta go get my coffee. Oh, you're a cook, State Police Academy. Wonderful. I personally, as a felon, do not like state police, but you're okay in my book. You're okay, cause it's the internet. What else we got? Anybody wanna throw something at me? We got one little hole in the middle of the board. And I tell you what, this counter isn't even accurate. Sex. Oh, you have to be to work at 4 a.m. Wow. Why has promiscuous sex become more regular even among married couples? Dun 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 dun. Don't worry, Sasuke. I won't tell your husband this is what we're talking about. Unless he's sitting there listening, in which case, how are you doing? So this is something we all seem to see more, and it has even been brought up about the current president, Mr. Pussy Grabber Trump. And hello. And it's a curious equation. And of course, as a married man, my wife and I have had a conversation about whether or not we would want to spice up the bedroom with another person or persons, or what we want to do. We go to the adult stores looking for things, trying to keep the fire in the relationship, kind of. Lack of morality, maybe. I guess that all depends on what your morals are. What are you looking for? Where does your moral standing come from? If you come from a religious moral standing, then violating the sanctity of marriage or being promiscuous are both very bad things. But from a non-religious standpoint, how is promiscuity bad? And if you have an open marriage, how is that bad? And why are so many people doing it these days? My cousin does this all the time. She doesn't respect men enough to actually stay faithful. See, and that's a curiosity. We've hit a time where people are very open about their sexuality. Well, more open than some people even want to admit to or listen to for some things. And the more open the society seems to get about our sexuality, the more it seems that the things that weren't morally okay are now becoming commonplace. She is so far left that anything past her ass is alt-right. Yeah. I don't tend to look at everything versus the left-right scale because even people hard on the left will have opinions that are on the right and vice versa. Which is why when somebody asks me, I tend to say I'm primarily a centrist because I can be swayed if I feel the argument is valid, but I won't be swayed to think entirely in one direction or another. I will always hold that opposite opinion telling me that to go too far in one direction is wrong. I guess this could be broken down into a couple different things. Is why is it regular more often, and why is it okay? And we could look back at the morality of it, but again, every time I think of the morality of sex, I always think religious aspects are what prohibit sex from being a morally okay thing. And there's places in the world that we all know where the body is considered, the female body is considered so tempting that they have to stay covered. And in other places in the world, the body is so acceptable that you're not allowed to wear clothes. And when you take both of these into account, you have people that are anywhere in between there. No, you're all right, AW. I'm glad you stopped in. She heard I was Republican, called me racist within 2 minutes. Okay. Racist. That's a terrible term these days. It's so backwards. I think the reason people have become so promiscuous is with that loss of morality, the condemnation of doing these things is kind of gone. When you take out that, well, you must be true to this person and how true you are reflects how you'll live in the afterlife. Well, when you take out the afterlife, when you take out the possibility of being punished for the things you've done wrong after you pass away, people are more inclined to try and enjoy the time that they do have. And in enjoying the current time, you don't think about the repercussions of what you're doing. So, if you believe that your life is only going to be the one you're currently living and you need to live it to the fullest, then unhappiness needs to be, or unhappiness is a burden and happiness is what you're striving for, to be simple. Would cheating on somebody you're unhappy with then be morally wrong if morality is the search for happiness? And this is something that a lot of people are taught these days, and therapists and psychologists and everybody tell you this, and it's very true, that you should take care of yourself first. Everybody tells you this. Doctors tell you this. Psychologists tell you this. Anybody who spends any time anywhere in any medical profession in college is going to tell you, take care of yourself first. It's you first, and then those around you that you care for. And that, I think, is the basis for why people would go ahead and do things that they might not ordinarily have done 100, 200 years ago with a religious morality there. Well, I'm one of those horrible religious types, but I was raised to think secular as well. As long as consent's had, I don't see anything wrong with a bit of sex, but cheating, no, and underage can't give consent either. Okay, I'm not even bringing underage into this. Not this part of this conversation, because that always leads to a whole different path. People want happiness. Yeah, you got a disease, keep it to yourself. You don't always think about that either. And some people don't care about whether or not they currently have one. Some people know they have one and don't care because what's it gonna matter? They're gonna be dead in 10 or 20 years, or YOLO, you only live once, enjoy life to the fullest. All of these things can be said, which is where I kind of brushed across President Trump, where he even supposedly cheated during his marriages, or leaving marriages for another marriage. That was morally wrong. So how can you fight for what we have in our current time and have the ability to freely make yourself happy? And if you are not happy, you divorce or leave the person you're with. How can that be okay, but we're not all right with promiscuity? All of these things have grown together. You want to live life for the thrill of the enjoyment of life. And that's, for the most part, my feeling, with a few caveats, obviously. Everybody has theirs. But you want to live for the point of enjoying it because there's nothing after it. So losing that fear of being punished for your wrongdoings after you pass away has kind of taken away that fear that promiscuity is a bad thing. And even knowing that there's diseases out there is not going to slow down and stop certain people, because whether or not you die of a disease, a gunshot, a car accident, or anything else doesn't matter to somebody, realizing that once you're dead, you enjoy the time that you have. So it's a real hard fine line discussion. Morality versus sex and relationships. What else can I say here? Does anybody else have anything they want to toss into this one? This one was one that popped into my head pretty quick, and I was thinking about it. And I am a married man. Promiscuity when I was younger. Oh, I don't even want to go into that. The stories are semi-graphic sometimes. They go hand in hand. I guess you have to have your own kind of set morality to keep you from doing these things. Toss in this one. It really is. And then you get into, not to burn the oil on this one, but you get into good for the goose, good for the gander, how sometimes it's seen as worse for one person to cheat than it is for the other to cheat, and I don't always agree with that. I guess it comes down to whoever you partner with. If you partner with somebody, needs to be into the same things that you are, or be willing to try the things that you're willing to try, or something like that. You got to match with your partner. Married people should only be frisky with their mate. Okay, there's been lots and lots of public stories about people who got married not to have sex with them, but just to have a partner. Cheating is cheating. What's sharing? Is sharing cheating? If you invited somebody into the bedroom for another partner and you both did it, is that still cheating? Is that cheating to the second power? Skullbot, stop smiling or I'll smash your teeth. I forget how I programmed that one in. Cheating is not a good thing. That said, and if you and your mate consent, then no, it's not cheating. Interesting. No, it's agreed upon. See, isn't it funny how perspective changes with little things? But you don't always discuss all those little things. If it's none of my darn business, then I don't care. If they know and don't mind, it's not cheating. See, again, it's all about the construction of your relationship, of the person you're with, or how you do things. And again, it seems like that whole thing has changed because of the loss of morality that we lost with the religious culture that sort of died off here. All right. Cheating isn't cheating if I know she's doing it. Well, cheating isn't lying if you know she's doing it. Or however that works. Saki getting rich in the chat with 20,000 bones. Welcome to the stream. Better late than never. Let me reach down and pull a wrench out of the drawer for you. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. And we are waiting for our chat to come up with today's next topic. And again, I will mention I am in the Great Debate room in the Discord. If anybody jumps into the green room. Let's see what you guys want to talk about now. What do we got? We got people asking for bones and the Skullbot giving them. We've got what do we got? We got transportation from AW. Where's my mouse? I need a new mouse pad when I go shopping here. The quality versus price of footwear is making walking more expensive. Who walks a lot in here? Anybody go for walks? Just, leisurely wandering down the street for no reason, or a purposeful walk, or a specific distance for exercise reasons? Does anybody in here understand this? Okay, we have Dark Sasuke used to walk. Tim, 4 miles a day. Bullwinkle, I walk everywhere. Trez, sure. Okay, so I'm not the only one. I do it on purpose. I do have a car, but I walk certain places because I force myself to, and I feel better for doing it. So, has anybody else noticed that when you go to buy walking sneakers or just generic shoes, walking shoes, cheap sneakers, they used to run you about, 20, maybe $30. Now you're lucky if you can find them for 30 or $40. And the material that the sides of the sneakers are made of, while it breathes better, it doesn't tear apart quite as quick. It's thinner, and once it starts tearing, it's over. And the glues, instead of the machine-driven thread, the shoe's quality doesn't seem to hold up quite as well. So, without measuring it in miles per sneaker, I don't feel like you get the same wear for the money out of sneakers these days. Has anybody else noticed that? Pay less shoes, but they won't last long. Yes. I also have not been able to shop at Payless Shoes since I was about 15 or 16, because they only carry men's 14, sometimes 15s. So once in a while they'll have a shoe I fit into, but not very often. Walmart doesn't carry my size at all. So this affects me a lot more. An average sized person can walk 750 miles in a $20 pair. But that $20 pair is now $40. And that $40 pair will now get you 325 miles. How do you feel about that, Tim? I've noticed something because I had to go out and buy new sneakers for everybody. Wide, yes. Long, yes. 14 4Es or a 15D, depending on the brand. Running is good. Running is great, but you really have to buy $100 sneaker if you're gonna run. You have to buy a sneaker made for running. You can't buy just, a work shoe or a walking sneaker. Fine, since that is hyperbole. Which part? Every 3 months. That seems to be an average. Does anybody remember, 3-4 years ago when sneakers lasted 6-8 months for the same amount of wear, if not more wear? Yes, steel toes are better. I prefer a nice pair of 600 weight Carolina steel toes. 14 4Es. They're $145 last time I bought a pair. They last me 1 year in decent condition, the second year shit condition. I'm on the third year with these ones and they're falling apart. But that's $140 boot. I'm talking about sneakers. You want a sneaker that lasts you a year, it's going to cost you as much as that boot. I don't know if it's much about being lazy. If you have sneakers from 4 or 5 years ago, they're lasting because they were made 4 or 5 years ago. I found an old pair of shoes of my mom's in a box. And when you pull them out, the outer lining's like a rubber, and then there's a sewn in felt on the inside, and then there's another fabric inside of that. There's like 3 layers with padding and everything. New sneakers don't seem to have that. It's like a folded over piece of fabric with some padding that's not even soft on the outside. And that's if it even has that thickness. Some of them are these new mesh that almost has nothing to it. It's got like a plastic feel, like it was run off of a press as like a plastic piece of paper and then sewn into your shoes. And that plastic mesh, when you bend your toes and it gets those creases and it starts to tear, and then you don't get as much out of them. Now, I seem to remember being a big-footed person and knowing companies who were always looking for people with big feet to turn in their shoes for where were you walking in them, where was your weight press, how did things work for you. I'm not looking. Saki, another $2. Awesome, thank you. They used to buy people's shoes off for like $2 for a used pair, and they would measure the indent and the pressure that you would have on your shoes. So when you got ready to go buy a new pair, you could get like $1 or $2 off in certain stores if they participated in the programs that bought back shoes. And then they were supposed to be making better, more comfortable ways to make shoes for people. And as time goes on, I'm noticing that for people like me, the shoes are getting tighter around the ankle, which is comfy around the ankle, but to get your foot in them is more impossible. They've got all these new, everybody's got a comfort foam or the cushion foam base in your shoes. Those are awesome. They're great until you sweat too much and wear them down, and then they come apart like a piece of wet lint from the inside of the dryer. Memory foam. No, there's no penalties for leaving early. Have a good day. Thanks for stopping in. But I'm noticing that they're putting slight effort into the shoes, more to give thinner and quicker fabric, kind of going towards what the cars and the toys are, making things so cheap that you don't get the wear out of them you used to. And I miss it. That sounds gross. I'm out of the loop. I don't buy much of anything. Yeah, you know what? I dread replacing things these days. The older appliances and the older things that I have a durability to them that the new stuff doesn't have. And when I end up having to finally go buy something, I'm almost in the back of my head going, okay, how long is it going to be till I have to replace it again? And with sneakers, I kind of try to plan to buy them every 3 months, but then don't usually get to them till about 6 months or a year, and by then I'm wearing some strings with a couple pieces of plastic and fabric hanging off, and maybe some tape in there. I don't know. Shoes are difficult to complain about because you still need them. You can't really pay $100 for a pair that's going to get you through a long period of time. And it's getting to the point where the cheaper pairs don't quite equal out. Yeah, a pair of Adidas. The Adidas, the Nikes, the Reeboks, they're not made like they used to be. You've got to buy like Air Jordans or something for $80, $90, $125. You might get a year out of those Jordans or whatever. And you're going to get 3 months out of the $30 shoe. Which one is really worth buying? I would rather buy the $30 shoe and just put some duct tape on it when I need to. 2,000 miles, assuming you're careful with them. I will tell you, there is no way a person with a size 14, 15, or larger foot will ever make it 2,000 miles on a pair of shoes. I remember from working in a grocery store and wearing those pedometers that I did anywhere from 10 to 16 miles a day. So for you to hit 2,000 miles would take you, by 2,000 miles, my shoes are trash. Let's say, how many days would it take me? 200 days to get to 2,000 miles? I get about half of that before I tear my shoe apart. So, yeah, 2,000 miles would be a pretty good. Toe shoes, while expensive, tend to last about 2,000 miles, assuming you're careful with them. Or is that toeless shoes? Adidas are awesome, but yes, expensive. Yes, and I know one of the big problems I have is, everybody know on the front of the sneakers where they take the front of the tread and they roll it up the front toe of the sneaker? If you look at the sneakers you buy, you'll know a good brand of sneakers because there'll be stitches going up around the edge somewhere holding the top of that rubber down. And, oh, it's a brand. And the ones that have the stitches that hold the rubber down are usually the higher quality shoes. The ones that don't have the stitches, you'll see the front of the toe peel around. At least me and my kids do that a lot. All right. What else am I missing here? Let me do a quick look around. No tweets. Nobody in the green room. Okay. So what we need now is another topic. We got lots of them. Who wants to pick? It's a first come, first serve. I hope you can type fast. 90 words a minute. Enter. Nothing. Slow internet. Platforms. Saki the Real beating data to the platform punch. On what grounds do users have a say in the development and progression of a site or platform? So, this is interesting because what are bones? Bones are things that hold skeletons together. Yes. Thank you, Bullwinkle. My channel, my rules. So, okay, let's say I'm running YouTube and I initiate all of these rules that YouTube is initiating right now, and I lose viewers and I lose viewers and consumers. I lose producers and I lose consumers because of the rules that I set down, and my business starts to fail. Okay? Then I have learned that the decisions I've made have led to the outcome that I have received. Now, when you look at these platforms, it really depends on what it is they offer. So again, let's start with YouTube. The users. Let's say that I still come to YouTube every day and I broadcast my show for 1 hour every single day, and I come in here and I chat. But let's say none of you in the chat show up. Absolutely nobody. And for days on end, I notice my chat is empty except for the bots. And then I go over and I start watching the Kumite, and instead of 2,000, 2,600 people in there, there's 3. And then I go over and watch Philip DeFranco, and instead of thousands of views, he's got 50. And then I start checking out other channels, and everybody starts seeing a huge decrease in the viewership of YouTube. YouTube would then want to make a decision that would allow their company to change and bring back the viewership, right? Or would they? Because what Bullwinkle said is, where did it go? my channel, my rules. So YouTube has taken that logistic right there. It's my channel, my rules. We want to see this. We're going to set these rules out, and these rules are going to give us what we're after. Your channel, your rules. But there's far too many channels for far too many creators. Yes, there are. And we'll get to that here in just a minute. So, what grounds do the users have? Well, they can't really request anything, but they can use their viewership to push. So, but what that would mean then is all of us, even the creators who may still go and create, have to stop watching all content in order for YouTube to get the idea. All creators would have to stop creating content for YouTube to get the idea. And that, because of the size of YouTube, won't happen. There's no way you will get together every user and get them to agree, if not only agree, but not use a service for a certain period of time. So let's go. Your channels, your rules. Far too many channels, far too many creators. There's another thing. You're going to have competition among all the creators. So I'm on here looking not necessarily to compete with another show, but to compete with the ability to get the attention of the people watching. Alright, so even if we wanted to maybe rule down YouTube, make it harder, make it difficult, tighten the rules, get things to where we want to, is it really gonna cause anybody to want to leave, or enough people to want to leave or stop creating or go to other platforms for it to matter? All you have to do is push out to your regularly daily viewers, and you're always going to have viewers because they know you're there. Even if a portion, let's say a half of the YouTube creators leave, that to the rest of them goes, well, half of YouTube left. That means all those people looking for content are going to find my stuff instead of what was there. So you're never going to get the creator aspect to leave. And as long as you have creators, you're always going to have the viewers. Does this make sense? So the reason that we talk about other platforms having a hard time building up to what their potential could be is because they can't compete with the size. But at the same time, it's this size that makes this business unfailable. So, I don't know. Oh, it's seemingly unfailable. You're boneless now? Alright, what do we got? It is quarter of. We are 4 topics in. And we're starting to change our regularly picked topics. Eat me skull, I'm bot. Eat me skullbot, I'm boneless. He's attendee! He's attending! Get him! Dip him in ranch! Movies with Saki the Real before I asked. I was about to let it come out of my mouth and Tim follows up with toys. Sorry, Tim. Second place. Should we as a culture stop making children-specific movies and just teach them movies are not always real? If you farm chickens, are you a chicken tender? Nightbot, what's your favorite movie? What's that? Honey mustard. This one flew into my head this morning. It was one of those things where a couple questions were easy and a couple questions I stared at, but I clicked over and went, okay, what do I have to... Oh, movies. You know what? I think I know what to put in here. Why do we create children's movies? You're not... The goal of us as a society is... The goal as a society is to raise these children to be adults. To bring them up to the standard that we see fit for them to live at. Now, if we want children to be adults, why do we treat them like children? In nature, most animals teach their children how to do specific things, and then that's done. Once you teach them that, they can move on and learn how to do that better. But we decide that we're going to teach our kids that at this age, this is okay. 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 With a little bit of give for different personalities seeing things differently. Like, I might let my 10-year-old watch a movie fit for an 18-year-old, but I might also let my 5-year-old sit there and watch it with us. So, this is one of those... You can program these movies for kids and make it interesting for them to keep their attention. But sometimes kids will keep the same attention on adult movies. Why are we spending time and focus trying to belittle them and not bring them up faster to be able to understand the things that we understand? Let's see, what am I missing? Throw bones. My kids taught me lots. Oh, kids are wonderful for teaching you shit you don't realize, but need to recognize they aren't real. Right in there. Should we just give them regular movies? You can only bone heist for the amount you have, Bullwinkle. I don't know if you have a million bones. But hey, why do we belittle children by giving them these environments of animated toys and dragons and kids that can fly and kids that do things that aren't at all real, that have no motivation in society right now? Why don't we just teach them from the things that we watch and explain to them that this is entertainment, this is not real? Why can't we do that? The invalid argument comes that children playing video games and watching dramatic movies will lead to them doing negative things, but that's been proven wrong. So why don't we teach our children that these things are the regular, and that they need to be brought up to become adults, not allow them to live in the fantasy worlds? Now, I'm not saying, yeah, I guess I did say not allow them. I'm not saying they wouldn't at all be able to live in fantasy worlds. I'm saying if a cartoon is made, don't aim it for the children, aim it for a higher age, and let the children come up to understand what is being made, not give them stuff to change their understanding of it. I guess it'd be a way to say this. I need to get closer to my mic. I sound funny. How do I sound to everybody else?
Maybe if I get right up here over top of it, and I'll start talking with my chin over the mic until I bump my bottom of my chin into my mouth. This sounds funnier. I don't like this either. I gotta get over top.
Yeah. I let my kid watch movies that many consider to be scary, but I taught them that these things aren't real and it isn't truly scary. That's what I do. I mean, if I rent a cartoon to watch with my kids, I watch it with them, but I try not to pick the little kidsy cartoons. I try to pick the ones that have more adult entertainment.
Ha 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 ha.
I love this mic. It's
wherever I talk changes the things I have to say. Can I be undoomed from up here? Ha 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 ha.
time for you to go more into detail about that. I mess with Binky's teacher by sending her to school with Christopher Hitchens or Richard Dawkins' book or Stephen Hawking, The Large-Scale Structure of Space-Time. You know what's funny? I got into an argument with my teachers. I asked them what not my teachers, my kids' teachers. I asked them what basic level my kids needed to read at. And I said, so what you're telling me is if I push him to read at a higher level, that's not going to help him? Well, it won't help him the same. Okay, so if I push him to read at a higher level, that won't help him? You're teaching him at the level you're teaching him. I'm teaching him he needs to get to where I gave him a book at. And I gave him a book, to be honest, which is just a couple years beyond where he should be now, to make sure that he has to learn something from it. But it seems that I've let the school take effect so much that he doesn't learn the way they're teaching, but when I push farther than them, what they're teaching seems easy to him. So can we stop treating children like children and start treating them like people that are going to be adults? This is hard in my home because of the age difference in my kids. And see, that's another argument, is that could be socially constructed for all of us, because 150 years ago, when schools were smaller, more kids on wider ranges were taught all the same curriculum. They were taught the same things. They were taught differently than they are now. It seems almost like the way the kids are separated and taught now, they're treated more like children for longer. They're treated like they don't know anything for longer. And maybe that's part of why we still look at 16 and 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds coming out of high school going, "You're kids." Well, we just raised you to be children. We didn't raise you to be adults. We raised you to be children slowly growing into adulthood. Maybe if we change the way we define things, starting with movies, let's stop making everything soft, fuzzy, and happy and start blowing shit up and let kids realize that not everything is always good. And then maybe we can learn from there. It's basic hentai, but... though, what would you think? Is it basic hentai? But though, what would you think? McGuffey readers are really hard compared to today's school books. I agree with him, but I teach on a more difficult level. They need to grow up to be adults. I was planning... oh, that's Skullbot. This is something, the movie part bridges the edge, but this is where it popped in today, is this our way of trying to make children be children longer, is to give them childish things and keep them dwelling on these childish things until there's no choice but to look at them, slap them in the face, and say, "Okay, now it's time for you to grow up. I wish I'd have taught you this a long time ago." Are you trying to get me to watch hentai now? Saki? Oh, so how is everybody today? What time? Oh, wow, we're almost on the hour already. Let's come over here, and I just screwed that up again. No, I screwed that up. I'm really screwing shit up on today's show. That's what happens when you play video games for 4 hours leading up to the show. And then YouTube doesn't know how to count. I'm trying to figure out... shit's all messed up today. Shit's all messed up on my screen today because I wanted to do a video game. How is everybody? I got about 3 minutes? 4 minutes. Well, I'm hungover. Getting practice for the Ale Festival. Yes. It's always good to be a little hungover. I had a headache all day yesterday, but I don't drink much. That's a good idea. You should raise your kids to not be kids. I call me a mean dad sometimes, but I push my kids. I give them the ability to do things that children are going to do. That's not teaching them to be kids. But when it comes to everyday life, I try to teach them based on the life experience that I've had. And I try to let them know, it's like, you may think that I have no clue what I'm saying, because from your view, you don't understand. But I've already been through this, and I'm just trying to make you not feel so stupid as you go through it yourself. And that's how I explain it to my older son. I don't want you feeling as stupid as I felt at your age. So I try to give you a little bit of knowledge that I had that maybe you'll do better than me. And I hope it works, kind of thing. But it doesn't always. Stronger. Trez Silverworth doing well. Age appropriately. Obviously, you don't hand a 4-year-old a knife and say, "Tell me what to do with this." I should say not kids when they grow up. If you teach a kid to be a kid, then how will they become an adult? I teach my kids to be better than me. If they better than me, then I've done my job. Exactly. Do you know that I did not have a savings account till I was 34 years old? Do you know my 11-year-old son has a savings account with about $100 in it that he's earned that I've pushed and convinced him to do? So I've tried to make him understand that you get paid for the amount and the quality of work that you put out. So he worked for me a bunch during the summer, and I told him, look, you're not getting $10 an hour if you don't give me $10 an hour worth of work. If you're going to stand there for 45 minutes, I might only give you a buck or two an hour. And when we got all done and I started handing my nephews and my son and everybody cash for the work they did all summer, my nephew got $150, $160 from me. The other nephew got like $60 because he stood around all the time complaining, and my son got like 80 because he put in a little bit more work, but still not as much as the oldest one. My son, the one I convinced to, hey, you know, I'll let you spend half of your money if you put half of it in the bank. Okay. That was easy. The rest of them blew it all. Teach them how to be adults. Pass along the knowledge, but don't force them to do things they're not ready or willing to do. Exactly. What you have to do is you have to let kids know that this is the adult thing to do. But since you're not an adult yet, how about we compromise? The adult thing to do would be don't spend your money just because you have it. The kid thing to do would be, I got $80, I'm going to go buy something cool. The compromise is, how about you put $50 in the bank and I will take you to the store to spend the other $30. Okay. Cool. We came to an agreement that made you immediately happy and made me show you the long-term effect. And that's what I try to strive at with my kids. I try to keep them just above where they should be. I'm not teaching them to be kids. I'm not okay with them acting like kids. I want them to act a little bit older than they're supposed to be. And my kids' schools don't like that. They really don't. At Schoolbot poop. Okay. You want to poop on the Schoolbot? That's just fine. Ooh. Trez just got rich. If I had kids, I would want them to replace me over time. Believe it or not, that's actually what kids used to do. Is you used to raise your kids to pick up where you left off. If you had a family farm, you would raise your kids on how to run the farm, and they would pick up where you left off. If you had a lot of kids, you know, you used to try and send a couple of them off to school or something to find a better job because they're not all going to be able to run the farm. Times have changed. Now we've gotten into the habit of, instead of teaching kids that there's jobs and work and things to do, that nope, all you got to do is learn. Just learn. Just get this information in your head. Just get this information in your head. And then once all that information in your head, oh, well, you should know what to do. Get the fuck out in the world. But wait, nobody actually taught me anything. Oh, shit. How'd we do that? How did you learn all that, but we didn't teach you anything? This doesn't make any sense. What's wrong with schools these days? I don't know. You made children out of these children, and they didn't grow up. Thanks. Saki and Dada tend to sit and play with the bot a lot. They know how it works. All right. So with that, I think I can get my washer started back up again, turn the heat back up and the dryer back on, get a few things done, and I might get back on and stream some more of that game since it was so much damn fun. So, with that, tomorrow morning I will see anybody and everybody willing and welcome to show up at my show at 9 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time. And I think that's like 2 o'clock in GMT, that's Greenwich Mean Time. Why is the bot so slow? Oh, it's eggplant and then punch, Regine. Not punch, eggplant. Eggplant punch. But yes, with that, everybody take care. Please feel free to hit a bunch of buttons where and how and what you feel like there before you go. And I gotta take care. Oh, Skull. Oh, yeah, better late than never. Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay. Everybody have a good day. Let's find some music. Oh, why didn't that work? There it is. Bam, bam, bam.